Hello, everyone. Good morning, or good afternoon, or evening, depending where you are joining us today. I can see we have attendees from all over the world, and thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule to join this webinar. My name is Susie Scuti, and I'm looking after the sales and marketing for Smart Viser. And thank you so much for coming on today on this exciting webinar, Understanding the Energy Labeling Requirements for Smartphones and Slate Tablets, where we will aim to deep dive into the new regulation to help you get a clear understanding of what that will mean for you, and also how you can plan your testing and what the available options will be. It's a pleasure to see some of the manufacturers joining today that have participated in the beta testing program. You have seen the development of the energy label from the beginning and to the latest publication, and we're hoping we will still be able to provide you some useful insights and information. Thank you very much for your valuable feedback throughout the energy label process and also your time spent to assess the beta program. We're also seeing today some newcomers. So thank you so much for taking the time to join this webinar. And we hope we will be able to give you a good overview to get you started with this new regulation. Also, we see some of our valued customers. Thank you so much for your loyalty, mobile network operators, and also some from the market surveillance authorities. Thank you all for joining. We're moving on to the agenda. So in the next hour, we will try to cover some key topics. We will start with some company introduction and some housekeeping, especially for those of you who has not worked with Smart Viser in the past. We would like to give you a little bit of a quick overview who we are and how we got involved in this program. We will then progress into the overview of the legislation to point to you some key areas we would like to draw your attention, and especially where you can find some of the key documentation. We will then move to the exciting part of today's webinar of the overview of Viser EEI Pilot Application. We will cover some testing options depending on your internal setup, equipment, and resources availability. And we can discuss how we can help you with this new regulation and also how to move forward. We will also have a Q&A segment towards the end, so please make sure you jot down all your questions you have and fire them up to us at any time. So today with me, I'm delighted to introduce my two colleagues who will be participating in the session today, our CTO and co-founder Xavier Frere, who has been involved in the energy label regulation since 2021 and has a wealth of experience in testing and certification. And I think quite a lot of you have already interacted with Xavier during the pilot phase program and also during the early stages of this certification and regulation.
Yes, thank you, Sylvia. I'm very pleased to be here. And of course, looking forward to share some more technical insights on this new regulation.
Okay, thank you, Xavier. And also would like to take the opportunity to introduce to Debbie Buffler, our Marketing and Communications Manager at Smart Viser. Debbie brings a wealth of experience in marketing and will be the one who will be monitoring the chat box today if you have any issues, and also will be collecting all your questions from the Q&A session during the presentation. So please let these questions coming in. We are really keen to hear from you. Any feedback is highly appreciated. And Debbie will also take us through today some of the housekeeping ahead of the webinar.
Thank you, Susie. It's a pleasure to be here today, and I'm looking forward to the presentation. Like Susie said, we're just literally going to go through some housekeeping for the session today. You've all joined the meeting in listen only. If you need any help, there is a chat button that can be found at the top of the screen or the bottom of the screen, and we'll do our best to provide you with some assistance. Also, I'd like to encourage you, like Susie said, to submit your questions. Again, use the Q&A box found at the top of the screen or the bottom of the screen. Any questions that will be are unable to have time to answer today, then we will collate the questions and provide answers. And then we'll share this in a Q&A document that hopefully will get out in early October. All the slides will be available. We're recording the webinar today, so feel free to share these with your colleagues. Next, it's back over to Susie.
That's great. Thank you very much, Debbie. So as we said, we will be sharing all the material after this webinar, and we will collate all the information and questions if we don't get a chance to answer them today. So as explained, I will go through in the next few slides some company introduction for those of you who don't know us very well. We will try to keep this part short so we can focus in the new regulation and energy label. I will at this stage turn off the camera because we will share quite important information, so we would like slightly shift the focus on the presentation and the material, but we will turn the camera back on again in the Q&A session where we will discuss some of the questions you are raising during the session. So Smart Viser has been founded in 2014 and headquarters in Rennes in lovely sunny Brittany in France. And our main core business is test automation products and solutions. And of course, a key expertise is in telecoms and testing. We work with a variety of market segments, telecommunication, but also some mission-critical areas, defense, government and defense, mining, and private network testing. And our vision is to help our customers succeed in today's fast-changing technology environments, and also release, part of our mission is to help you release and empower you with products and services to help you release products and services in the market on budget, on time, and with superior end user experience and quality. And today in this webinar, we also have the opportunity to have one of our co-founders and CTO, Xavier, who will guide us through the technical aspects of the regulation in terms of testing. As we explained, one of our main segments in telecoms, and we work with the smartphone manufacturers, mobile network operators, infrastructure vendors and suppliers, several regulators in Europe and Africa, and also MVNOs. Our main offerings, they're all underpinned by our test automation solution, but we also offering some services. We are an accredited test house for a mobile network operator group, so we perform a lot of accreditation device testing for them. We also offer testing services from battery performance and energy efficiency to modem performance, open network testing for device launches, benchmark, and a lot of other investigations where needed to help you with your products and services launches, whether it's a device or whether it's roaming services from mobile operators aspects. We have a remote lab capabilities. We have physical resources almost in every country in Europe, North and South America, and also some coverage in Middle East and Asia, where we are able to test any product at any time. We have some consultancy services to help you build your test automation strategy and also your testing strategy in general. And we have worked with some of you, I can see already on this webinar, on different capacities. And lastly, we have a product targeted for consumers, Viser Mark, which is the first label for battery life performance and energy efficiency. We do test several devices on regular basis and invite you to check the website when you have some free time to check the latest scores and reviews. The website is visited on a regular basis by end users and we receive a lot of feedback. So make sure when you have some time to have a look at our Viser Mark website. And concluding on the customer introduction is a quick overview of who we work with. And as we explained, we have a very strong presence in the telecoms industry. So we work very closely with mobile network operators across Europe and also Asia and North America. several smartphone manufacturers. So we work on different business models with smartphone manufacturers, from services to test house accreditation and also test automation. Also, we have a long-standing working relationship with media, like GSM Arena, who use Viser for battery testing since 2017. They do have their own testing protocol, so they have defined their testing protocol and testing methodology, and they test every device with their own defined protocol. And if you do head to GSM Arena website, they always mention, there is a mention about how exactly they test their devices. And we also work with other media like Les Numériques and Frandroid for battery and also performance testing. And lastly, we work with quite a lot of enterprises and public organizations like EU Commission, but also some mission-critical entities, private network and connectivity. So hopefully this was enough to give you a brief understanding about Smart Viser, our capabilities, and who we work with. Before we delve into the next part of our agenda today, we will move into the new regulations and highlight some key points that we would like to focus your attention. And just a reminder, keep sending us your questions throughout this presentation. Debbie is monitoring the Q&A part, and we'll be collecting the questions for the end of the session. And again, if we have more than we can, the time permits today, we will tackle them offline, but rest assured, we will aim to answer every single question that we receive today. So going on to the EU Commission, so a very quick overview of the EU regulations. So what were the key dates? So eco-design and energy label, they were adopted on the 16th of June this year. You may have already seen that last Thursday, they were actually published in the original journal of the EU. And according to the regulation, after publication, you will have 21 months before they become mandatory. So the key date is 20th of June, 2025. The regulations are mandatory, so you will need to be aware what that means for your business and your products. We do have the links for both of the regulations, the eco-design and the energy label, but today our main focus will be for the energy labeling regulation. And just a very quick overview of how important is the energy label. The European Commission has carried out a preparatory study to analyze the technical, environmental, and economic aspects of smartphones and tablets. And the study has concluded that the scope for reducing the energy consumption and for smartphones and tablets can significantly be improved if there is an energy efficiency scheme. So in 2020, the smartphones and slate tablets consumed around 36.1 tetrawatts per hour of primary energy. With the new regulation, with the energy labeling regulation, they're expecting this to be reduced to 23.3 tetrawatts per hour by 2030, meaning a massive saving of 35% of primary energy consumption. So this regulation is very, very important, and hence that it has been almost fast-tracked within EU to become mandatory by 2025. The next slide is our energy label. So this is the final version. You can find it available in the regulation. It comprises 6 parts, and the first 2 are the parts that we will focus on today's webinar. The first part is the Energy Efficiency Index and is displayed by A, B, C classes. You may have seen that on other products like washing machines and fridges. So exactly the same classification is entering on the smartphones. And the battery endurance will be displayed underneath the energy classes in hours and minutes. So these the first 2 parts of the energy label we will go through in more details as we progress with this webinar today. Moving on, So what is the testing procedure? So this, we're moving to the test methodology itself, and you can see in the left-hand side, we have the test sequence for smartphones, and in the right-hand side, there's a test sequence for tablets. So the testing scenarios and the activities were selected following a pan-European survey EU and Fraunhofer Group did back in 2021 to collect information on how end users use the devices and how long they spend on the device. And hence the testing sequence was created based on this information. So, for example, on the smartphones, we see that the end users use the devices still to make phone calls. So we're still very pleased to see that phone call has appeared as part of the activity. And there is allocation of 4 minutes in the loop. Web browsing, so quite a lot of web browsing on 9 minutes, video streaming, and of course there's idle in between. We do understand that people don't use the devices on a full basis, but there is some gaps with idle. Gaming, and also data transfer, upload and download. This particular use case, the data transfer, the data throughput, it encompasses email and social media as well. So in order to make the procedure repeatable and not relying on which is the latest trends on the social media, I'm told Facebook is not cool anymore by kids. Everybody's moved to TikTok. We try to remove this variability by having everything encompassed into the data transfer. And again, the sequence for tablets is slightly different. People use tablets more for gaming, hence there is a slightly more time allocated to gaming. And also similar, there's some video streaming and video playback. So both sequences should be started on the device when it's 100% charged and finish when the device is powered off. As part of the sequence, I would like to draw your attention to some additional presets. So in the Annex 4 of the regulation, there is a paragraph 1.1 where they have a detailed explanation of the measurement and calculation methods. Please be aware that there is also another document that gives you some additional setups. And this document is an Excel file available in the EEI test specification document hosted by EU. So we have included a link in this presentation for you to see if for this setup. And a very quick overview. So what this Excel document is actually including, it contains 3 tabs for 3 areas of setup. The first one is the network simulator setup, and you will need to include there, it includes information like which LTE band shall be used and which RSRP and RSRQ levels need to be set up in the simulator prior to start testing. It also has a list of other setups, so we strongly guide you to visit that document. It also includes device setup information, settings like media volume, screen brightness, and screen timeout are included there. And you have around 38 settings. So please do view the document. And also, lastly, there is the use case setup. So the Viser Neo application is actually already configured to this. So we have all the settings that's included in tab 3 will be included in the Viser Neo EEI Pilot Application to help you with the testing. So we've been through the label, we have been through the testing methodology and the testing environment, and what the regulation next shows is how the energy index is being calculated. So we have the different index scores that they actually translate in energy efficiency classes. So you have the endurance of the device, and the endurance of the device stands is the same as the endurance of the test and the battery endurance, meaning what is the time in test hours from 100% charge to 0. and this score will be divided by energy from the battery, which is the nominal voltage, multiplied by the rated battery capacity in milliampere per hours. And that will give you the score for the EEI Energy Efficiency Index. And so you now have the testing, you've calculated the score, and in the next slide, we will show that where this score will be available. So all labels will be available in the European Product Registry for Energy Labeling. At the moment, you can find this information for other products, and very soon there will be a section for smartphones and slate tablets. Some of you may already be aware of this site, and probably you may have used it before making some big decision purchases like washing machines and dishwashers, or TV and screen monitors, if you want to assess which one has the better energy efficiency. Smartphones will now be there, and end users will be able to calculate will be able to search by energy efficiency index, as well as battery endurance score. And up to now, end users relied mainly on the media reviews on how to ensure how is the battery performance of a device. And now we're thinking this area will actually be very popular for end users and media alike when they want to include this information into their product. And of course, retail outlets will now include this information in their products when they were sold. And again, we will share these slides, as I said, so we will have the link for you to check afterwards where you can find this information. And you will be pleased to know we are concluding on the energy regulation before we move into the more interesting part on the Viser application and the testing methodology. And we have picked up some key points from the regulation we would like to draw your attention. We will advise you to speak to the relevant policy officer if you need further clarification, as we cannot give advice on certain aspects on how you should, what is accepted and what is not accepted. This is slightly outside of the Smart Viser scope, so please reach out to the policy officer. If you don't know who to contact, you can get in touch and we can advise you for the right party to get in touch with to get further clarification. These key points are coming from the Energy Label Regulation on the second page, paragraph 7. So the first point is that the Energy Efficiency Index should be calculated with the operating system version installed on the product model at the date of placement on the market. So meaning that the product you test and the software and the whole setup should be exactly the same as it would be on the market. You cannot test with a different version than the one is available in the market. The next paragraph, the paragraph continues actually with the additional information that you will need for the lifespan of the product to ensure that you calculate the energy efficiency index and is not changed. So every time you do a new updated version of your operating system and is released in the market, you should ensure that this actually does not it's not digressed, or there's no regression from what was originally published. And it goes on to highlight that any change in the efficiency index, where any parameter of the value of part of the label is different, should be considered relevant and the label should be revised. And this is very, very important because you will need to ensure that anything that is on the market surveillance authorities may randomly pick any device, and you will need to know, they will need to find out that you have exactly the same level. And the only way to achieve that is that you always test exactly what is in the market, so there's no repercussions if there is a difference and a big gap in the energy classes. So now we will move to the more exciting part of today's webinar, and sorry we maybe this part of the regulation may have been a little bit too dry, but it was some important points to go through today. Before I let Xavier, I will provide a short timeline, and Xavier will take part the more exciting part. And I've heard he has brought a very cool video today to show you, as well as part of the Viser Neo application. So we're going through to the Viser Neo Pilot Application. And before I pass on to Xavier, one last quick overview on the next slide, which is the EEI application timeline. Okay, and for this, we will give you a very quick overview of how Smart Viser was involved with the product. So we joined EU, the Energy Labeling Program, in 2021, and we worked to define the testing methodology for battery energy efficiency testing and also endurance. And for the next month, 6 months, from June to December, we've created a testing methodology. And as we explained, a lot of the user actions were selected from the Pan-European survey from EU and the Fraunhofer Group. And some of the requirements for the methodology is it had to be easy to set up, to have a reasonable test duration, to be repeatable and accurate, and also to be as close as possible to the end user's behavior. So at the end of 2021, the testing methodology was created, and then we released the beta program together with EU, where several of you have participated and provided us very valuable feedback. So thank you so much for the time to work with us on that phase. And we collected all the feedback from the beta program. And together with EU, it was decided what items from that feedback should be introduced and further refine the EEI application. So following the feedback implementation, Viser Neo EEI Pilot Application has been released and is available for iOS and Android, and it has been available since 1st of August in this year. I will now pass you to Xavier, who will take us through the next part of the technical presentation.
Yes, thank you, Suzy, and thanks for sharing all those details about the regulation. So let me introduce Viser Neo EEI Pilot Application. And first of all, what is the objective of this application? The objective is to implement EEI protocol for smartphone and tablet as defined in the regulation, and it is available, as you stated, for iOS and Android versions. If you want to take part of this Viser Neo EEI program, you can reach out to Smart Viser directly, or you contact the EEI EU policy officer, and it will redirect the request to us. If you are not within the group of manufacturers or market surveillance authorities, you will need anyway to get the approval from the EU before we can proceed further. Okay, so as some of you already know our standard Viser application, I will explain what is the relationship between Viser and Viser Neo EEI app. So Viser Neo EEI application is a spin-off from our Viser test automation engine. The Viser test engine allows unlimited scenario design and test execution, and as well it integrates a powerful instant and interactive analytics. On Viser Neo app side, this is a limited version, which is dedicated to EEI energy efficiency index and battery endurance assessments. It is done through embedded scenarios, which are already into the Viser Neo EEI. Just one information: this Viser Neo EEI does not provide access to analytics. The data from the test execution stays on the device. If we look more in depth on the testing process. The methodology has been designed to ensure a reliable and repeatable testing process, which is basically requested in the Article 5 of the regulation. If we read the Article 5 of the regulation, this one is stating the following. The information shall be obtained by reliable, accurate, reproducible measurement and calculation methods, which takes into account the recognized state-of-the-art measurement and calculation method as set out in Annex 4. And this is what we have been dealing with during since 2021, meaning setting up the reliable and repeatable testing process. The first step when you want to go for EEI on battery endurance measurement, the first step is to prepare the testing precondition. And this is defined, all those preconditions are explained, as explained by Suzy, are defined in Annex 4. Then when the full environment is ready, then let Viser Neo EEI application managing the test protocol. So it will fully manage a test protocol from 100% down to 0% battery level. So indeed, even not to zero, it goes up to down to power off. And you will be able to read the result data from the app, and this will give you the device, your device index, and the endurance time. To illustrate this, now we can go through a very short video, and it will illustrate the three main steps that I've been explaining. So first, you need to get access to the test precondition, and this goes from the EU regulation website. Then you need to set up the environment following those preconditions. So set the network simulator. For instance, adjust the screen brightness. Set the volume to the defined value. And as well, you have many more settings, parameters to set. And then Viser Neo EEI will care about managing the execution of all the activities which encompassed into the EU regulation. And this one is for smartphone. So Viser will now start the test, manage the first call, ensure that the device goes in idle, and will manage to wake up the device at the right time, and will start a browsing session. One more idle, fully managed by Viser. Then this is the streaming part. Of course, this is an accelerated video. Yes, then just after you have a gaming session. One more idle. Wake up managed by Viser to go through the data transfer section. One more idle. Local video playback. And then it's over. Device goes to power off. At the end of test execution, go back to Viser Neo EEI app, go to the result menu, select your test session, and from this test session report, you will be able to get endurance and index. So now we have been through Viser Neo EEI application presentation. And as Viser Neo EEI app is a specific version from Viser, let's now take a few minutes as well to explain Viser for those who may not be familiar with it. So what is Viser? Viser stands for virtual user. It aims to perform any user action the same way an end user will do when using the device. At the same time, it acts as a probe, meaning that it will monitor, collect, record the data from the network environment and from the device environment itself. It can be used on any commercial device. No routing or jailbreaking are required. And it is not intrusive. There is no impact on the device. You can use it on a fully standalone way. No specific equipment are needed. And as well, in order to program some test scenario, you will not need any programming skills. If we look at all the use cases or test cases that can be stimulated by Viser, Viser will be able to stimulate a broad some broad use cases. So it can go from everything which is voice calls related, data, gaming, messaging, browsing, video, playback, local playback or local or streaming, all related to connection from of the device with its network environment. And of course, for the EEI topic, very important, Viser is fully capable of managing every battery life, power consumption related test plans. And Viser is technology agnostic from 2G to 5G, and as well everything which is Wi-Fi related. On the other end of Viser solution, you will find out Analytics Studio, and the Analytics Studio supports the visualization of all the data which has been collected by Viser during the test execution. And the main thing that will be that you will be able to visualize the data with a full set of graphical widgets. And idea between the analytics is that you will be able to create your own board or several boards fitting with your test objectives. You will be able to highlight or to say emphasize the right understanding, the right conclusion, what you want to get from report analysis. You can drill down several levels of data. You can as well mix data from different domains. All boards are fully customizable. You can edit, reorder, resize, merge or crop reports, and you can important things. You can as well share reports, or you can share dashboards within your team, and you can as well export reports in different formats. Viser Analytics Studio also offers a powerful way to compare reports, and this makes it perfect for benchmark purposes. This is very useful when you want to compare different software versions, different devices, different operators, and especially in the scope of EEI, if you want to detect any degradation on power consumption side, you will be able to compare several runs or several software versions. So in one site, you will be able to detect any issue. On the Analytics Studio, you will be able to access a full set of KPIs. It goes from data performance down to everything which is connectivity KPIs. And for instance, the connectivity KPIs support to get a full understanding of device network environment. And all the other domains, for every domain which is managed by Viser, you will get a full set of KPIs. Let's have a short look on few of KPIs or graphs that you can create from the Analytics Studio. So, and let's focus on what is interesting today, which is the power consumption of battery life. This is an example of power consumption split per usage. So here you will be able to know the power footprint of all the different user actions that are into the EEI protocol. The previous graph was showing some average current, but if you are willing to see the trend of instant power consumptions, The Analytics Studio will support creating any kind of timeline for the recounted data. This is, for instance, so with that, you will be able to get your consumption profile, and you will detect whether it's rather flat. Here we are rather flat, or it can be as well bumpy, and anything that could indicate that some software processes are running at the regular or random time. So you will be able to as well to check your consumption profile. And last one, to illustrate what you can do with the comparison mode of Analytics Studio. So Analytics Studio will allow you to select several reports and view them in comparison mode. So all your dashboards then will be displayed in comparison mode, and it will be very interesting as well in the scope of EEI, where you can compare different versions, compare different devices, benchmark as well with competition, or benchmark against internal reference. And I will leave the floor back to Susie.
That's great. Thank you very, very much, Xavier. That was quite interesting. And I hope actually you're also finding this information useful. I have seen quite a lot of interaction. I keep seeing a lot of questions being popping up and Debbie noting them down. So thank you so much for providing us this feedback. I will make sure we leave enough time for the Q&A sessions. But before that, I will just summarize the testing options as we discussed up to now that they're available for you and how SmartViser can help you with this new regulation. So the first option, as we discussed, is the EEI Pilot Application. So it is available, and it is available until the end of October. So please do get in touch if you haven't done up to now. So the EEI application will help you test all the regulations and is fully configured to make sure that we fit all the regulations. The next item that we can help you is with the Viser test automation, with the dashboard analytics, and also the full unlocked version when you need to perform a variety of testing, where you want to test early on and you want to be fully in control of your own analytics to make decision from prototype to launches of devices. So we have the second option available with the Viser test automation. And lastly, we offer some testing services. We have received quite a lot of feedback that you don't have the internal capabilities to perform this testing, but either lack of physical resources or like a simulator to perform this testing. And we do have a lab full setup. We had a lot of requests up to, so we are actually running on full capacity up until the end of October. There will be some slots becoming available, but we do understand some of you wanted to test as soon as the regulation was published, and we will get in touch with the more available slots. But if you are looking to either compare how your setup is with our testing, or if you want us to perform the testing on your behalf because you don't have the internal resources, we will be very happy to support you with this. So an overview of the all available options. It would be the EEI Pilot Application, where it's free for everyone. It doesn't have any access to analytics, and the technical support from SmartViser will be on the Viser application only. We do have the Viser test automation, where you have full access to Viser and including the EEI test scenario, full access to analytics, access to both iOS and Android version. And also you will have some technical support from Viser to set up your environment. And lastly, the testing services, where we have a full lab setup with the EU requirements, and you will receive the official score for publication. And also you have options if you need more in-depth reports to analyze any weaknesses. And this concludes the part of our webinar. So we have reached the end. Thank you so much. As I said, we have received a lot of questions, and I can see already we may not be able to answer you all today. We will be turning the camera back on again. And and if you still have any questions, and you're thinking something, please send it. We will answer offline if we don't have time to answer them today. And again, it's been a pleasure. So we will move into the next step on any questions, and passing on to the floor to Debbie, who has been taking non-stop notes throughout the session. So hopefully, Debbie, we have some interesting questions. And start with the easy ones, please.
No, there's a lot coming through. Just want to say thank you, Susie, for going through the regulations. It was really useful. And Xavier, thank you for all the insights. And I hope everybody found that useful. These are some of the questions. Like we said, we probably won't be able to answer them all today, but one of the most popular ones that has come through, and this has come from sort of some of the manufacturers, and it basically just asks what happens if there's a software upgrade.
Of course, this is a little bit to the regulation and is a little bit out of scope from Smart Viser involvement. Our recommendation would be please speak to the policy officer, but there is a mention in the regulation, I think it's probably second page, where they have a specific, there is a specific note that you will need to ensure that any version that is released on the market, it doesn't change the label. Our interpretation, that means that you will have to make sure you test to make sure there's no degradation from the product in the market. And one risk we see is that the market surveillance authorities will pick up the devices from the market, and you don't want them to come with any surprises and actually find that your product has a different energy class or actually a different endurance battery score. But of course, we highly recommend please speak to the policy officer.
Yeah.
But our interpretation at the moment, based on the regulation, is that you will need to ensure that what is on the market, if a market surveillance authority assess it, they will get exactly the same results as the manufacturer has published.
Okay. There's been a couple of questions that have come in, so I've sort of condensed these two as the second question together.
Yeah.
And we've been asked how to ensure you can test early versions of products. Also, will the application work on prototypes? Sorry, Xavier, that is your one.
Yeah, sure. I will take this one. Yes, so our application by the Neo EEI app will run on prototype. There is no limitation.
Yeah.
And we are continuously making sure that we are testing across new OS releases from Android and iOS. So this is our daily job to ensure that we are maintaining and we are keeping the same functional level across the time.
Okay. We had another question from the market surveillance authorities. And this is really asking for how to ensure the application will not be detected in order to falsify any results. So this is a little bit trickier. So yeah. Sorry, Xavier, that's coming to you as well.
I can support if needed, yes.
Okay. Yes, indeed, that's a bit tricky, but anyway, this is a quite common and recurrent question that we have been dealing with since 2021, since we started to work with the EU and Fraunhofer. Yes, we are aware that it may happen. And what we have been dealing with is to be creative and to imagine which kind of mechanism we could implement, and we have been implementing few things. We have few ideas on how to reduce the risk of falsification, and but of course this topic is rather touchy, and unfortunately, and I think that I hope that everybody will understand that I cannot disclose more detailed information about that. Okay. But definitely this is a true topic, and we are aware of since 2 years now that we have been,
absolutely, yes. And this was a key question last year at IFA as well. Yeah. We get asked that all the time, especially from market surveillance authorities. So we had 2 meetings last week, and we'll ask the same question. And we do understand there is quite a lot of interest on that topic, and to ensure that there is a fair environment for everyone. I think up to now, from what we've seen with everyone we work, everybody's really keen to actually improve the product rather than have a better score. So, but we already discussed with some market surveillance authorities some solutions that we have already in place on how to avoid that. There will be testing, we will be testing, so there's several options available, but we will continue evolving. Yes. Everybody continues, they're more creative, but we will try to match them up. But it's the same with the rest of the industry, I guess. We will try also to be up to speed with all these new developments. Exactly.
Thank you. That's a great answer. Also, just another one. We've got obviously coming to the end of time, but I think I can squeeze another couple of questions in. We can ask, what about the impact of Viser on devices? So, sorry, Xavier, that's coming to you as well.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. So I will take it. I will take this. So I will. So very straight. Viser impact is very low. And this is one requirement that we have been taking into account since the early development of the app. Basically, our main requirement was that it should not have a major print or impact on the device performance. So we have using the best development techniques, and as well we are continuously ensuring and measuring the impact of Viser. So it's around 1% of CPU that is taken just by the Viser scheduler, which is very minimal compared to all the other activities.
Okay. Sorry, I think I've just actually got time to squeeze another one in. So again, this has come up a couple of times. What happens after the 31st of October? Sorry, Susie.
No, that's absolutely fine. And actually, this is a very fair question. We have got this question quite a lot. So we understand the pilot application will be available up to the 31st of October. We are waiting to hear what will be the next steps from EU. Every phase that we have been through up to now, we had the beta testing program, we received the feedback, analyzed the feedback, then we moved to the pilot application program. So then the EU will planning to review all the feedback that was collected. And thank you so much. I think we already have quite a lot. And then the next steps will be decided. But unfortunately, up to now, we cannot actually advise you what that will be like. Okay. We know a lot of you are worried because we already had a lot of questions on that. We will help you to continue after that date. So please feel free to reach out. We can discuss what other options are available once the pilot application phase ends. But the EU will probably come up with some further plan on that. But please rest assured, yes, we will support you. And as Xavier explained earlier on, if you haven't been receiving the pilot application, you still have time. So please reach out.
Thank you. Thank you, Susie. Thank you, Xavier. That's going to draw the Q&A session to a close. Thank you for submitting all the questions. We haven't been able to answer all of them, but as we said at the beginning of the webinar, we will be collating all the questions and all the answers, and we'll be putting them in a summary document, and that'll be with you as soon as we can. So thank you for joining me on this session, and now I'm just going to pass you back to Susie.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you so much for all the questions, and I can still see them during the Q&A session popping up. So please keep coming. It doesn't matter if you didn't have time to ask your question. We will still take them. We'll still want to hear from you. It's been really, really interesting. And I have seen actually there's a variety of very, very good questions. So thank you for interacting with this session. It has been very, very helpful. So I will try to wrap up and still allow you some time. So before, I understand everybody has a very busy schedule. So I'll make sure we finish to give you a couple of times to grab a cup of coffee for your next meetings. So the wrap up, thank you so much for joining, is we've covered a lot of topics, and I understand it may have been bombarding you with a lot of information, but we really appreciate your active participation and the questions you have raised. Thank you very, very much for your feedback and remarks. The main topic today, 20th of June, 2025, the regulation is mandatory, and we understand you need to be ready. A lot of you already starting planning your next products. We have several options from Smart Viser to help you: EEI Pilot Application, Viser Test Automation, or testing services. So please reach out if you want to explore more, or if you want to discuss your challenges and how to proceed. We will be very, very happy to speak to you. So that comes to the end of our presentation, and hopefully we've covered a lot of topics, and we've answered a lot of your questions you may have. And as I said, please reach out. We can schedule one-to-one sessions, and we can have a few further discussions to help you with your challenges. I'd like to thank my co-hosts. They've been very, very amazing support today, and it was really, really useful. And also to our team behind the scenes, from our CEO, Gilles Ricordel, who has been working non-stop on this, to our marketing dream team, Justin and Marcella, who have been supporting us all throughout this session. And also thank you all for joining. We will be looking to speaking to you in the future, either on a face-to-face event or on another meeting. So thank you so much. Have a great day, and reach out if you have any questions or any comments. It was a pleasure to host this webinar for you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Have a nice day.